and welcome to the 100 Acre Wool Knitting Podcast. My name is Bella and I am a knitter and knitwear designer based in Northern California in the United States. And this is a podcast where we come to chat about all things knitting, fiber arts, sometimes sewing as well, also maybe crochet or spinning yarn, all of the fibery goodness things. But today is going to be completely about knitting. I've been on a kind of a knitting little frenzy here for the past couple of weeks. So today I have all knitting things to share with you, and actually all designs of my own as well. So we'll get into that. And with that, sort of getting into what I'm working on design-wise, designing is a process, and you're going to see that. And things don't always work out the way you planned or the way you hoped or the way you wanted, and that's kind of part of the process. So we'll chat about that a bit. I also have some finished objects and a new pattern release for you that is very exciting. So we will get right into everything right after a quick word from our sponsor. This video is sponsored by The Knitting Circle. The Knitting Circle is an online community of knitters where you can start or continue learning on your knitting journey. The Knitting Circle is the #1 online resource to help you become a better knitter. Whether you are a beginner knitter or an experienced knitter, there is always something to learn on the Knitting Circle. Their thousands of classes are taught by industry experts that will walk you through step-by-step knitting techniques. Everything from how to cast on and bind off to more complex skills like brioche, lace, and adjusting patterns to make them your own. I have particularly been enjoying the entrelac knitting class from Mary Beth Temple. I have never tried entrelac knitting before, but I think it's a really interesting look, so I wanted to take the class. Mary explains every row and every stitch very detailed, so you can really understand not only how to work entrelac, but also the fundamentals of how all the stitches are working together in order to form these really interesting shapes. I also love that the Knitting Circle has quick tip videos for tons of commonly used knitting techniques, so you can quickly and easily learn any techniques that might be missing from your knitting knowledge repertoire. So if you have no experience knitting and would want to start knitting, or you've been knitting for a very long time, you can always find something new to learn at the Knitting Circle. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the video description below will get a full year of premium membership to the Knitting Circle for only $1.49. Thank you again to the Knitting Circle for sponsoring this video. Okay, so first let's chat about what I'm wearing. This is the newly designed, or newly released pattern, rather. This is my Amoretta blouse pattern. It is now published on Ravelry and also my Etsy store. I am so happy with how the pattern turned out, and all of my test knitters had a lovely time. Every single one of them came out so beautifully and fits everyone so well, so I'm really happy about that. I was especially excited about this pattern release. It's been in the works for many, many months. I think this entire year, if not most of this year. But now it's finally out there and released so that you can knit it, get it on your needles if you would like to. So I will chat a bit about it, some of the details, if you haven't heard before or if you're curious. So this sample is only one option of the pattern. In this one I did a crochet edging on all the edgings, and in the pattern there are 4 different options of edgings, as well as 3 different options for neckline edgings, and also 2 different sleeve lengths. I have an FO that I will show you in a second. That is the second sleeve length, a long sleeve kind of balloon sleeve version. And there's also 2 options for whether you would want this button band down the center. This one is a functional button band, so I could unbutton if I wanted to. And there is also a version where you could just knit it all flat. Actually, it would be in the round, but flat as in no button band, so that's also an option in the pattern. And the idea behind this whole garment was I really wanted a beautiful, elegant base pattern that you could work off of to make it your own and also make it suit whatever season you're going for. So this blouse is actually perfect for right now. I know it's not really fall colors, but we're still getting some heat here. It's already October and it's still hot. We're still getting some little heat waves. That tends to be what happens here in California, unfortunately. October is not always fall weather. Now it feels like summer again, so I'm ready for it to go back to fall. But anyway, it's very useful right now because it's a little bit warm, so I can wear this T version, sort of a T version of the pattern. But then you can also make it into a long sleeve or different things. So, or you can add the little crochet edging. I think this is a very feminine touch. Maybe it would be good for spring as well. So anyway, there's just a lot of variations. And in the pattern, I have also included a tutorial that I created walking you through step by step how to get started on the blouse. It is worked top down. So you're starting up here in the shoulders and then you're working down. The top portion has to be worked flat, and then you will either join in the round or stay flat with, if you're doing the button band, the double knit button band. But I created a tutorial walking you through step by step how to get started. And then also if you want to do the crochet edging, I know there are plenty of knitters that love the look of crochet but maybe haven't tried it themselves yet. So I did create a step-by-step tutorial so that even if you have never done crochet at all, it is definitely doable. So you can just watch the tutorial that is linked in the pattern. So I think that's everything I have to say about this one. Thank you so much to all of you who have already supported me in purchasing the pattern. I am just so thrilled with how excited you are, and I can't wait to see your versions. So let's get into the first finished object. We'll get off the topic of Amoretta for a minute here, and I will show you something that I just found off last night. This is another new design, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be calling it yet. This has also been in progress for a little while, and it was originally kind of requested by my mom. She had purchased this yarn and said, design something with it. So this sample is going to be hers, but yes, I have actually already ordered some of my own yarn to make another version of this. I kind of want to make like a fall vibes one. I've been really craving fall colors, like deep, rich sort of colors. So I have actually already purchased, it's in the mail, it is coming, some of the same base as this. It's the La Bien-Aimée Kumo. Is that the Surrey one? I believe so. I will put here if I am incorrect on that, but it is the La Bien-Aimée Surrey lace weight yarn base of theirs. That's what I used for this sample. I'm forgetting the colorway right now, but I will probably put it down below if you're curious. But yeah, I've already ordered some of my own yarn to make another sample, which will be in a deep sort of reddish fall color, like a little bit of a warm red. I had asked on a podcast previously here, I had asked you all if you thought I should make my sample in kind of an orange tone or like a minty color. And I still really, it was kind of unanimous. Most people said do the mint tone, which thank you so much for recommending that. I agree. I think the mint color was beautiful and would work for my skin tone. But I figured I just finished this and I don't need to knit another like very minty color blouse immediately. That's not what I'm like reaching for right now. So anyway, I really want the red version of this. I think that will be nice. And I think it would also be good to see what this pattern would look like in a darker yarn, see how that would turn out. But anyway, so this version is completed, and I have also done a bit of detailing at the bottom. Maybe I will get closer so you can see. So this pattern is all over brioche. Will it focus? There we go. So this pattern is all over brioche and one color brioche. So you're only holding one color of yarn. And then it is also worked top down entirely in the round. It becomes very popcorn knitty. The first part is very fun with this whole motif going on. And I love how it just naturally created this kind of a scallop edge. And it's also a bit of a wider neckline, which is very elegant when you're wearing it. I will be wearing this for you at some point so you can see it being worn. But I haven't blocked it, as you can see. I still have some ends to weave in here. But yes, it's so soft. I really love how it came out. And My mom wanted her version to be a 3/4 length sleeve, so that's what we have here. And then yeah, she also requested doing the same motif at the bottom, which I think came out beautifully. It's unfortunately not as visible as the top, I think possibly because of the variegation in the yarn, but again, another reason why I want to choose or want to knit another sample in a darker tone that's also not variegated very much at all. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this pattern came out. It is so very soft. It is knit with only one strand of the lace weight yarn. So it's very light, very airy, very poofy, lots of squish to it. So yes, it's very light, but since it is the Surrey alpaca and silk, and it's also brioche, it becomes very warm. I was putting this on and trying it throughout the process, and it is definitely warm, even though it is a thin yarn, even though it is just one strand of lace weight. And also, since the gauge is like much larger than you would normally have for a lace weight yarn, and also the brioche again, it like goes very. It actually goes very quickly, and is kind of popcorny. So I'm so happy with how this one came out. And yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about it at this point. There will be a test knit coming, of course, and it will be available in 9 different sizes, just like all of my other garment patterns. All of my other self-published garment patterns. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, I need to redo the bind off. It's a little bit, I don't know, it didn't come out exactly the way I wanted to, but that's an easy fix since it is worked top down. So, oh yes, you could also lengthen it, of course, if you would want. But yes, anyway, test knit will be coming soon. I don't have an exact date yet. I think in a couple of weeks, because I still need to finish up all the pattern stuffs. So in a couple of weeks, the test knit will be coming. Okay, another finished object is back on the Amoretta blouse. So this is the same pattern as what I am wearing. This is the long sleeve version, and it's got these cute little balloon sleeves. I'm so happy with how these balloon sleeves came out. They're very fun, and I love a balloon sleeve. If you couldn't tell, if you've been watching this podcast or for any amount of time, you probably can tell I like balloon sleeves. But anyway, so it has the same neckline, but for this neckline, I chose to do the ribbing edge, unlike what I did for this one, the crochet edge. So there's different necklines you can choose, the finishing on it, and then for the bottom hem, I also did the folded over hem, which is again also in the pattern. Hopefully you can see there. I just thought it would be a much, I don't know, a very like elegant kind of a edging to it, with not having the ribbing at the hem. So that's what I decided to do for this one. And again, I can't really get much use out of it yet. This one is definitely gonna be a later fall wintry garment for me. It's still a bit too warm, so I can't quite wear it yet, but since the pattern is released, I finally actually can when it actually is cold enough, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, so this is just another example of what you can do with the Amoretta blouse pattern. Oh, and I will of course link the pattern down below if you're curious. Yeah, okay, so let's get into works in progress. So I have done some more on the quilt design that I shared with you last time. Shared with you the beginnings of it, my kind of swatch slash first part of it. Mosaic, knit, sort of quilt block design that I'm working on. And I'm having a bit of trouble with it. So this is what it's looking like now. And I don't know how it looks to you this far away, but this was basically the original idea that I had of this being one quilt block that I'm kind of going to put many together and turn them into a shawl. That's a very basic way of saying it. There's more going on. But anyway, this was the original idea that I had. I wasn't thinking originally that I wanted to make the quilt blocks and then just attach them all together, because I don't know, I just wanted the design to be a little bit different. I thought it would be fun to have these kind of framing borders here. However, in knitting and also the way that I created these blocks, it's not working out right now. I feel like it looks very messy and just unprofessional, in my opinion, at least how I wanted it to turn out. The square in the middle is not actually a square. Some edges are nice and straight and pointy, others are not. So, I don't know, it's just not working at this point to do the joining this in this exact way. So, however, I love the little blocks, the little guys here. So 1, 2, and then on the bottom 3, 4. Each of those, I love how those came out. Not going to change those. However, the middle kind of framing stuff here and here, I need to figure out a different way to do that because it is not giving finished well. Yeah, so that's kind of part of my process. That's what I'm going through right now. And even this version I had to rip this out like, I don't know how many, 10 times or something, and reknit it. This is definitely a part of the process, but I think I will be able to find a way. I've been thinking on it for the past week or so, and I think I'll be able to find a way to make this look more professional, but still be able to have the framing like I was envisioning and not just sewing the blocks together by themselves. I think it just, if I can make it how I'm envisioning, then I think it'll be really beautiful. But I do love how it's coming out. Other than that, once I'm able to get the framing correct, I think it's going to be super cute and exactly what I was envisioning. I think you could also just make this, like use this as maybe like a pillow, sort of a top, and sew something to the back and like turn it into a pillow. Or you could even make placemats. I don't know if you want to spend that much time and effort on placemats. But I don't know, I was just having so many ideas of, wow, we could use these. Like, you don't even need to make it into a whole shawl. You could just make 1 or 2 and do something fun with that. Anyway, so other ideas that I will maybe, possibly, probably also be including in the pattern. But yes, the little squares, the little colored quilt squares, these 4, those have been so much fun to knit. I have not been able to keep up with my daily goal of making 1 every day. I'm kind of making 1 every 2 days at this point, but they're so much fun. They're really just popcorn knitting. At this point, I don't even have to look at the pattern anymore. It just, you kind of get how it works once you work 1 or 2, and then you just go from there. It's just easy and simple, goes pretty fast, but yeah, I've just been busy with many other things. Yeah, so I'm really happy about the squares, but yes. However, another thing with the squares aren't entirely perfect either, other than the framing thingy we were just talking about. Here are some other squares I've been working on. So here's another color combo. Oh wait, how would it go? Like this? Or like this? So yeah, here's another color combo I am working on. And I was having so much fun a couple days ago just playing with yarn combinations and colors and seeing how it will all work together. And I also figured out this is going to be great for scraps as well. You only need 5 grams of any color, or less, depending on which portion you use it for, to make an entire square quilt block. So, at least for me, I'm going to make them all different color combinations. So as you can see, this one has some more cooler tones, and this one is very much warm folly tones. The whole shawl, I'm hoping, will be fall vibes, I'm thinking, but they're all going to be different. So yes, think this will be really great for scraps as well, which is just making me want to knit even more, because if you have as little as 5 grams of any sort of fingering or sport weight yarn, then you can make a whole block with like 4 colors. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But anyway, another issue another potential issue that I've been running into is how these blocks come out when you have first knit them. They do not look like a perfect square when you have first knit them. It requires you to either steam or wet block them into the exact shape of like a square, like this. So I'm wondering how many people actually have like how many knitters, how many crafters out there, how many of you actually have like blocking mats, or do you use I know there's those like play mat things, like kids play mat things that are like almost the same material as like a blocking mat. Do you use pins? Do you use a steam iron? How many people actually pin block their items and also have the tools to do so? Because I really want this to be accessible, something that anyone could just grab something from their stash, grab 5 grams of 4 different yarns and then like a main color and just whip up like a fun little quilt block. I think that would be super fun, and I don't want to prevent anyone if they want to make this, knit this. I wouldn't want to prevent them just because you have to do some little work of blocking or steam blocking in order to get them into a perfect square. I also have yet to test. I want to test also if once you make the entire 4 square, can you just block them at that point and just block the entire big square? Would that work? So this just all the process I'm going through right now. I'm just kind of, I don't know if inventing is the word, but just kind of some things that I'm working through right now, things that I'm thinking of. And yes, especially about the blocking. I would love to know how many people actually use those and own those in the first place. Yeah, let me know in a comment down below. Because yes, I definitely don't want to prevent anyone from being able to make these little cuties. So here's just a close-up of a couple of them. Again, very easy to actually execute. It is all mosaic knitting, like I said before, so you're only ever holding 1 color at a time, even though there are 4 colors going on. And then once you attach them all together, it's a very, in my opinion, a much more complicated looking sort of a look, but in order to actually execute it, it's relatively simple. But then there is that extra step of turning it into an actual square. So let me know if that sounds like too much work, if I need to rework this entire thing. Would you even be willing to make sure they're all little squares before you seam everything up? I don't know if this is just crazy and it's just turning into an art project, which is not bad, but the reason I make patterns is because I want to share with others. I want to give others the tools to create something if they see it and they love it, you know, share the tools to be able to make it themselves. Yeah, anyway, I feel like I'm rambling on. Let's get on to the next work in progress. Enough about design struggles. So this is another Amoretta blouse. I promise I won't be just making Amoretta blouses from now on, but this one I started working with some summer yarn that I had in my stash. I really wanted to have something cooler. I cast this on right when it was starting to heat up again, and I was feeling like, oh my gosh, summer's back, I need summer clothing. So I cast this on. The yarn that I'm using for this particular sample is Kelborn Woolens. It's their Mojave base, which is 60% cotton and 40% linen. This is my first time ever working with a base that has cotton in it. I've worked with yarns that have linen in them, but I've never worked with cotton, and I had also heard from some knitters that they don't like knitting with cotton. It has no stretch and things like that, but I've actually quite enjoyed this. Maybe it's because it also has that linen in there. It kind of makes it nicer to work with. I did notice it was if I would work on it for a long stretch of time, if I were working on it for multiple hours without any break, then I would start to notice my finger maybe get a little sore where the yarn is kind of being fed through. But I knit continental. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, I'm rambling a lot today. I'm sorry. But anyway, I found it was actually pretty nice. Not as nice as wool, in my opinion, to knit with, the knitting process, but I definitely liked it. And I do also like how the stitches seem to be coming out very evenly, because I was also kind of concerned about that. I don't know why. I think that's an unfounded concern, but I am liking how the fabric is turning out. So for this one, I am thinking it will be a pretty basic kind of a tee. I have already worked the sleeve edges. So this is another edge option in the pattern, just a pretty simple rib edging with an Italian bind off, because I really like that look there at the edge. And then I will also be doing the same for the neckline and the hem as well, just really quick and simple. So this one is very popcorny at this point. I'm just working in the round now, just in the round stockinette. But I kind of put a pause on it for a couple of days because this is the last skein that I have left of this. When I had purchased the yarn at the yarn store that I was at, they only had 2 skeins, and each skein I think it was only 50 grams. So, and this is also actually a sport weight yarn, so I have the same gauge as what is called for in the pattern. However, this is a sport weight yarn as well, so I'm not getting as much yardage per the grams. So I have ordered more of this exact base. However, you know, it's going to be a different lot and all. So we'll see. I'm hoping that the color is a close enough match. If not, then I wanted to have enough yarn to be able to variegate the skeins. What is that called? You know, when you knit 1 or 2 or a couple rows with one skein and then the word is leaving my mind right now, but you know what I mean. Switch between multiple skeins while you're knitting so that hopefully the yarn, or hopefully the fabric will come out smooth and flat color-wise. So it's not like one color up until a certain point and then when you joined in the new yarn, it's like a different color from there on out. That would bother me. So we'll see. When the yarn comes in the mail, we'll see. And I'll probably share that with you all next time. But yeah, I'm really enjoying how this is going. Another fun popcorny knit for when I'm just hanging out and wanting something simple to do. And I think that is everything for today. I did want to update you all about something coming up very soon that I'm really excited about. This weekend I will be going to Lambtown. Lambtown is a fiber and yarn and knitting and sheep festival pretty near me. It's in the northern Bay-ish area of California. So if you're going to be going to that too, I hope I see you. I hope if you see me, please come up and say hi. I would love to meet you. Really excited about Lambtown. I'm going to be looking for some things. I have a list of things that I'm looking for that I like to check out, especially in person. So I'm very excited about that, and also to see the sheeps and maybe also go to the wool show. I really feel like I cannot purchase a bat. I'm sorry, not a bat. I should not be purchasing a fleece right now because I still have the 2 that I got last year and that I have not been able to process yet because I don't have a carder yet. I do have hand combs, but that is a much longer process. And I also want these particular bats, I want them to be carded. And combing is just a fundamentally different process. It will produce a different yarn. So I'm just kind of procrastinating on actually purchasing a carder because they are expensive. So therefore I shouldn't be purchasing more wool, right? I shouldn't be getting another fleece until I can actually do something with it. So that will be a project for another day. But until then, I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you're having fun with whatever you're working on for the fall season, maybe even working on some gift knits. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please do make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss my future podcasts and videos. And I will see you all next time. Bye bye.